Hey guys, let's see. Blah blah. Okay. Thank you for joining us this week. Sorry we did not give any notice for this particular live stream. It has been an extremely busy last couple of weeks, so sorry we have not been there. 2 weeks ago was due to a power outage. Though we were run by the generator, the internet was still down. Perhaps one of these days we will get Starlink, and that won't be an issue anymore. And then last week we just weren't here, so busy schedule, which means we have had some time, over the course of 2 weeks to get some movies in there. And so, without further ado, as you saw on the screen here, before we have Europa Report from the year 2013, this might be a less known film. This is just one of those movies that I saw browsing, and I like the independent films, more or less, ones that you don't often hear about. You have to dig for a little bit. So that's what this one was, to me at least. That's what it looked like. I don't know any of the cast, had never heard about it before, and I probably saw this a number of years ago, but certainly nowhere near to its release date. And this is about a crew that is on its way to one of Jupiter's moons, Europa. And one thing that I really liked about it is the way that it was filmed. Not quite like it was kind of a found footage film. Boy, I am drawing a blank on give me a second here. Where is this? Sorry, guys. They got nothing. I can't remember part of the storyline, which was here. Let me fix this real quick. I noticed this earlier. Well, that's weird. What if I change it to this? That didn't help either. Okay, so Europa Report documents, it is a found footage of this crew headed to Jupiter's fourth largest moon, named Europa. And it shows them going about their daily tasks. Hey, Golden Age FES, thank you for joining us this week. Glad you could chime in. And they start. Wow, I feel really bad not remembering a lot of this film, but they start dying off by incident. This and that. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's bad. So while I can't remember much of the storyline, I will say I like the way they It was a cool story. I was interested in the characters. I think the acting was pretty good, as was the story. None of the scripting seemed clunky. It all seemed pretty natural, and I'll say that's one of the things that I really enjoyed, about this one. They were just going about their life on board their capsule module, whatever you all want to call it, as they're on their way to Europa. And boy, I wish that one was a little bit more fresh on my mind, because I really did enjoy that one. But the special effects were also pretty good. I haven't done any research as to how they film a movie with zero gravity, because I don't think you could pull that off being suspended by wires. I don't know, maybe you could. I know that they simulate zero gravity sometimes with real astronauts. I think by taking a plane into a dive into an empty commercial plane or empty jet that's got some space inside. But yeah, I'm not sure how they pull that off. I'd like to know a little bit more about that. But it's pretty cool when I do see movies feature that. So anyway, check it out. And really, you have no other reason than me saying that I enjoyed the movie, even though I can't remember any of the details, which is, it might sound terrible, but trust me, it is a good movie. I wish I could tell you more about the plot, but I did enjoy it. It does have some rewatch capability, and I would probably give it a 7.5. Okay, so next up, we have got Guardians of the Galaxy from 2014. Now, this is obviously part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and my interest in that has been deteriorating probably since, what is it, Avengers Endgame and Civil War. Iron Man is by far the best one, with, I think, even greater predecessors of Blade and 2014. Yes, Lord Gedrold. 11 years ago. Wow. Yeah. And just a year after Europa Report from 2013, which is pretty interesting. So Guardians of the Galaxy is entertaining. I think mostly because of Chris Pratt's character's personality, and the fact that there are a lot of songs that he plays from the 80s, my generation. So I make some connections over there, and all of the characters have a pretty unique personality. Who's that really big dude played by that one big actor? He's funny because he just speaks very plainly. The raccoon's funny. Also, those are probably my favorite characters in the movie. The story is okay. They're out in space. They're nothing special to see over here. Drac. Yeah, Drac. He's the big guy, right? Yeah, I believe, yeah. Drax, there you go. Boy, I can't remember the actor's name. But the big blue dude. Yeah, he's funny. So, boy, I really wish I could speak more positively about this movie. It's fairly entertaining. It's got a decent storyline. I was mostly interested in, or I was mostly entertained by just the characters themselves. So they pulled off their lines. They acted well. I don't know. A lot of people like this movie. At this point, I was kind of getting worn out. Green? He's green? I thought he was blue with dark red marks on his body, or bumps. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? I couldn't even tell you what the plot of this movie was. We're on a roll here for being able to tell you details on the movies that we've watched. We're supposed to be a movie review channel. So I'm going to plagiarize and read the quick summary on IMDb. A group of intergalactic criminals must pull together to stop a fanatical warrior with plans to purge the universe. Ooh. So. I'd rather watch Blade. So anyway, Chris Pratt's character is funny. Maybe I gave this a more positive review in the past, but I don't know. That's all it's got going for it. at the moment. We have to get to some more serious movies. Ones that are worth talking about. Like Spaceballs from 1987. So Spaceballs is a parody that touches on films primarily from Star Wars and Star Trek. And I want to say that there was another reference in there. I think a friend told me Doctor Who, a reference that I didn't catch. This is a film by Mel Brooks that is just super funny. And they have what do you call it? A pun. They made a pun with Perrier, which was a club soda kind of drink. But in this case, air was a valuable commodity at this time. And this planet, the planet of, couldn't tell you, couldn't remember. He's green and red? Drax is green and red. Okay, whatever. And the planet, I don't think it's Droidus space, not the planet. Maybe it's the planet. No, it's not the planet Spaceballs. Spaceballs were the bad guys. But the place where the princess came from, who is supposed to be a parody of Princess Leia, the planet's air is kept in by this gigantic transparent wall that's got a door. A large door that allows spaceships to come and go, so I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. And Perrier was how, fresh air. It came in a soda can. I don't know. This movie's full of puns. Instead of Jabba the Hutt, you got Pizza the Hutt. The C-3PO character was a female C-3PO character. What else was there? Rick Moranis' character is hilarious. He played Dark Helmet with this ridiculously large Darth Vader style helmet. And Rick Moranis, unlike the actor that played Darth Vader, he's really short. And light speed wasn't fast enough. You have ludicrous speed, and instead of Yoda, it was yogurt, and instead of the Force, it was the Schwartz. And yeah, it is just a fully entertaining movie. This would fall under the slapstick comedy genre. So certainly a cult classic. I highly suggest that you check it out. That's it. I would probably rate that one an 8. It has made a mark on that generation for sure. Where we at? Okie dokie. This one's got two popular leads, George Clooney and Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock is one of my favorite actresses. She pulls off all of her roles pretty well. And it's just, fun to watch in whatever role she's playing. This one is more, did I say? Yeah, 2013. Wow, so this came out the same year as the Europa Report. Maybe it was a year of space-themed movies. Not shorts, it's the Schwartz. Schwartz. Schwarz. May the Schwartz be with you. I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Instead of lightsaber handles, they had rings where the lightsaber came out of it. The way they held it was funny. So back to Gravity, you have Sandra's character and George's character. They are on the space station, and all of a sudden they get word that there was a collision of I think satellites, and which meant debris was headed their way. And since they're in low Earth orbit, this stuff, it's coming around every, I think, hour and a half or so. And it just, this movie kind of reminds me of The Martian, because it is one bad circumstance after another. And just saw the end of this movie. Gravity? Are you talking about Gravity? Um, and so it is a series of problem solving in order to get Sandra's character back down to Earth. Really cool film. They pulled off the parts that were in outer space. I think the sound design was pretty cool. I think back to Interstellar, where Spaceballs. Okay, where there's no sound in space, obviously, because there is no air, no sound waves can travel. You can't hear anything, but what you hear are what Sandra can hear within her own spacesuit. So a lot of it's kind of muffled. Hey, welcome guest. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It has been a long time, so we have a whole lot of movies to talk about today, and we are starting to get to the really interesting ones. So I think I watched some behind the scenes of this movie. Sandra said it was really hard to film this one. There was a lot of shooting in the blind or in the dark. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it has anything to do with them being in outer space or to pull off the special effects that we saw. But super cool movie because you just see the circumstances they're in, especially when they're in outer space, and if there's a few times where they are not tethered to anything. So any wrong move with their their personal the little air jets that they use to push themselves around in space. Any wrong move could send them off flying into endless oblivion because there's nothing that's gonna stop them, and that kind of puts you at the edge of your seat. Pair that with the orbiting debris, and there's a lot of debris from big pieces to small pieces, and because it's going in such a high velocity, even the small pieces are enough to do pretty big a lot of damage. So yeah, George Clooney kind of is eliminated a little bit early on in the film, and the focus is on Sandra's character, but he does come back in a way in her mental state as a means of motivation for her to keep going, to keep problem solving, and eventually she makes it back home. Pretty simple concept: trouble in outer space, get home. And what the writers decided to do in between all of the scenarios that they came up with, the troubling circumstances, fun to watch. I would give this one an 8.5. It's Gravity from 2013. Next up, we have The Martian from 2015. Wow, so we are in the 20 teens a lot. The Martian lead actor is Matt Damon. Gravity and the other movies. You're welcome, Golden Age FPS. Yeah, Gravity is really good. I like space movies. One of my favorite months so far. Yeah, The Martian, headed by Matt Damon. In this case, they are already on Mars. They are performing a mission, and because of a Martian storm, are forced to abort the mission and go back home. Well, they call him the Martian because one of them got left behind. That would be Matt Damon. Just one of those tough choices that the crew had to make. Oh yeah, one of my other favorite actresses who also played in Zero Dark 30. Her name is is that beluga whale? Jessica Chastain, the red-haired actress. She's one of the commanding officers, I guess, a close friend to Matt Damon's character in this one. She's in this one also, and she felt really bad and felt like that she had left him behind. But watching it from the audience perspective, they held out till the absolute last minute before they all perished. And so they just had to get out of there. And so for a while, the focus is not on the crew, and it's on Matt Damon, who was left stranded on Mars and having to figure out a way to survive. Again, another really simple story. Trouble on Mars, one man left behind, trying to get home. Everything in between that they came up with, all the problems that he had to solve, were just fun to watch. And I have to say that Matt Damon really pulled it off. He had some pretty funny lines in there, and some, he used his ingenuity to, he was a botanist. That was his role in the mission. So he was able to farm within the HAB. I don't know what HAB stands for. Human something. A place where they lived. Habitable. I don't know. But yeah, he was able to pull that off. He was able to travel long distances, use radioactive material to keep himself warm. He would have been able to keep on, farming and replanting these potatoes had it not been for an incident where the farming option was, taken away from him. So he had to ration his food. And so he had to pull off, probably in real life also, pretty drastic diet to get him to look pretty lean, much like Tom Hanks did for the movie Castaway. And he was gone, I think, for between 500 and 600 days. That is a really long time to be by yourself. The people on that reality show alone, even though they can get really comfortable, often suffered from loneliness and just mentally broke down and had to come home. I think of this one guy who was making chess pieces. He was pretty much living the life of Gilligan's Island, where everybody was where he was comfortable over there, but he couldn't stand being alone. So between 500 600 days on Mars, about as far away from home as you can get, he was able to maintain his sanity. It's probably one thing that... So he did get to communicate. Okay, so there is that. He did get to communicate with back home, so I guess that's probably a big difference between that and the show alone. So yeah, that helps a lot. He was still able to maintain communication with his team back home and the team who was on their way back to en route to Earth. So obviously he does make it back home, and that's it. That's where the movie ends. It's not an abrupt ending. It's an appropriate ending. He's now teaching classes at some school, maybe NASA, in their astronaut program. But yeah, this is a highly recommend for sure. I would rate this one a 9. Okie dokie. What have we got? We are moving on to Avatar from 2009, stepping back a few years. Rhiannon and I did get to watch this in 3D in the movies. Which was a huge deal back then. 2009. It was something to behold in the theater. Big 9. Yeah, that's right. It was a good movie. So it was visually cool. The story was okay. I've heard commentary that said this is a parallel to Last of the Mohicans. Apparently that's a really good movie, but I haven't seen it yet. So you have these humans that are learning about the planet. Maybe it's Nali. I'm not sure. With these blue people. I think it is. I think they are called the Nali. Avatar obviously is the word meaning kind of a stand-in for something else. This is something, they step into this thing. The human steps into this thing where they are, and they take control of this other, alien body so that they can walk around on this planet that humans can. It's not a fitting atmosphere for humans, and they essentially want to, I think some of the humans want to conquer this, and then one of them learns about the people, and they get to know them, and they're just a tribal kind community, and he ends up taking their side, help them fight back. So that's what the movie is generally about. The plot didn't quite do it for me. It was somewhat entertaining, but what was really cool was that they definitely made this to be experienced, in the theater, especially in 3D. That was kind of a nice touch, and this was not the old red and blue 3D glasses where things looked kind of funny. This was much like the ride at Disney, which we got to experience a few years ago. Pretty breathtaking, very nice landscapes, pretty cool planet design, all the terrain and the water and all that stuff. Not too bad. I think it was longer than it needed to be. I think James Cameron was behind this, and I don't think he was a fan of that comment from the general public that it was a really long movie because, because people will sit through, binging series after series on TV at home, or we'll watch other long movies. But my defense to that is it's got to be entertaining. He was also behind the movie Titanic, which was entertaining from start to end. This one, I felt like the plot could have used a little bit more substance. What was that? I don't know. But it was pretty. I would give Avatar a 7. Oh, look, another one. Avatar 2, The Way of Water. So, similar story. You have good humans versus some humans that have sided with I almost said Aladars. That's from the movie Dinosaur, with the Na'vi, I guess, with the blue alien things. And they got a little more sophisticated, a little more creative, and you get to see other blue aliens. Except they're water people, and they can breathe underwater. Totally a nicely, no, it's not very creative. This is another torturously long movie. Pretty to look at. I don't think we watched it in 3D. I can't remember. The landscapes are really pretty. I think the Disney ride did include some aspects from Avatar 2. Go watch Europa Report instead. Please stop making avatars. There's really not much more to say beyond the first. You can. I don't know. The first one and second one are kind of the same in my mind. You know what that means? We're done talking about it. I'd probably give it a 6.5 because they could have done more, or they could have just left it alone. I'm tired of remakes. So that was Avatar: Way of Water from 2022. I rated it a 3, or what did I give it? A 6.5. No, three's too low. Oh yeah, 6.5. Back to some better movies. Well, this is probably a controversial. That's probably somewhat of a controversial statement. This is Bruce Willis and Mia Jovovich. Bruce Willis is known from Die Hard, obviously, and Mia Jovovich probably I would say not Evil Dead, Resident Evil, the game to movie game based movie. Fifth Element is from 1997, and so the story is there is this secret that is held by a small group of aliens and a handful of people, and this evil entity that is this giant hairball in space. It looks like a hairball, and it comes to annihilate things. Yet there is this weapon that they can utilize in order to keep it at bay. And so that's the plot of the movie. And we pick up Bruce Willis, who is the main character for this. Chris Tucker is a nice addition, plays an eccentric character, kind of a MC on this. It reminds me of a cruise ship, but it's in outer space, obviously. You like the 2 Avatar better? You'll have to tell me why it's better. Was it because of the water people? And so Bruce Willis's character ends up. Maybe it's kind of like Frodo Baggins getting remakes. Yeah, let's get onto some original stuff. When Frodo this burden just falls in his lap, and this is kind of much like what happens to Bruce Willis, where we don't know in the beginning, but the fifth element falls. Well, no, yeah, sort of the fifth element falls into his lap, almost literally, and it is about their journey together to, stop annihilation, essentially. Cool design with the some of the alien guys in here look a little bit clunky, except I want to say that they were cooler than some of the Star Wars aliens, and there is some comedy and drama throughout this movie, which makes it highly entertaining, I think. What else? There's there's some shooting, some kidnapping, very colorful movie for sure, and that's pretty nonstop. There's not really any slow scenes to this movie. And it's just really entertaining. From start to finish. You got some, because Mia's character is learning English, so multipass. That's a popular quote. Big bada boom. That's a popular quote. She's learning how destructive humans can be, and in the end, despite that, Bruce Willis's character is trying to convey to her that even though that is human nature, humans are also capable of love, a very selfless act towards one another. And of course that's the fifth element, and big laser, big bada boom, and they save the world. So yeah, it is a great movie, and the special effects for this one are pretty good. You got this one really weird guy who's this wiry, scrawny guy with a single part in his hair. I don't know. He's got his plastic helmet. I don't know. That just is half a hemisphere on his cranium. It's kind of weird. It's got a weird accent, but yeah, he goes bye. I highly recommend this one. I would probably give it a 7.5. Wow, so that just about does it for this week's live edition. I really wish I feel bad about not being able to talk more about Europa Report. It's a good one. It's just a really good drama that just shows them going about their mission, but it's interesting to watch. So thank you for joining us this week. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing, liking the video, and hitting that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the Tuesday or Friday episodes, whenever we have a Friday episode, that is. All right, guys, and that is it for this week, and we will catch you next time.